Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And it's been a very interesting 24 hours after the PlayStation 5 showcase. Now, initially, I thought it was a very strong showcase thanks to the great price of the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition being only $400. But since that showcase, Sony announced a lot more stuff, and while they lied to their fans and future consumers, or at the very least, intentionally misled them. So we gotta straighten some things out today and see if we can clear up some of this confusion. So stick around and we will talk about that in just a moment. Also, Nintendo posted a mini direct today, but I thought this was the best event for Nintendo in well over a year. There was some major games shown here and a big surprise right at the end, so stay tuned for that as well. Before we get into all that though, first let's take a look at some of the other things happening across the industry, starting off with 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. So Vanillaware's next game, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, is apparently releasing next week for the PlayStation 4 on September 22nd. Now, if you don't know who Vanillaware is, they're the studio behind hit games such as Odin Sphere and Miramasa Demon's Blades. So they have put some high-quality games out in the past, but from the sounds of it, 13 Sentinels may be their best game yet. It is a bit different than some of their past work, being a strategy RPG, and it's been going a bit under the radar, but fans really might want to start paying attention to this game. Critics are absolutely raving about how good 13 Sentinels is, in large part because the story is apparently very good. Right now, it is sitting at an 87 overall score on Metacritic, making it Vanillaware's best rated game ever. Now, if you are a fan of JRPG type games, or you just want a good story, then 13 Sentinels might be a game worth checking out next week on the 22nd. I know it's certainly on my radar now, and I think this could end up being a surprise hit. Also, earlier this year, Epic Games and Psyonix announced that Rocket League would be going free to play. This was back in July, and since then we haven't really heard much about that, so there has been this constant question as to when. I mean, anybody looking to buy Rocket League surely had to have this sitting in the back of their mind, and without a definitive answer, fans were just kind of waiting for an official announcement. Well, Epic Games finally broke that silence. Rocket League will officially be going free to play starting September 23rd. Now, this is a huge announcement considering just how big Rocket League is. Not only do I think it's one of the most fun games of this entire generation, but it's also extremely popular. This is a game that can easily live on for years to come, and because it's going free to play, it will be easier than ever before for new players to jump in. If you for whatever reason have not tried this game out for yourself, do yourself a favor and check out Rocket League. I mean, it's going free to play, so it's at least worth a try. Also, you do have to remember that Epic Games does own Psyonix and Rocket League now, so something that they're trying to do is to migrate the Rocket League fanbase over to their storefront. And they are giving away an extra incentive here by giving away a $10 coupon for anybody who adds Rocket League to their Epic Games library. This coupon can be used for any game that is $15 or more on the Epic Games Store, so that's a pretty nice deal. Moving on, let's talk about the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 pre-orders. Of course, if you tried to pre-order the PlayStation 5 yesterday, that was just pure chaos. Sony didn't really give consumers a heads up or anything, as they oddly did not announce pre-orders during the PlayStation 5 showcase, and I believe Jeff Keighley was actually the one to break this news afterwards. Things got a lot worse though, because those pre-orders were actually supposed to go live today on the 17th, but of course retailers didn't necessarily listen, and they went live last night. Yeah, those things sold out pretty much immediately, and just trying to get checkout pages to work was a huge mess. I was trying to check out at Best Buy for well over an hour last night, and eventually I just gave up. But luckily, I went to a local GameStop this morning and pre-ordered it there. This was such a poor job on Sony's part though. There seemed to have been no plans here, which really messed with consumers getting a chance to make plans to pre-order the PlayStation 5. I didn't even hear about it until after I posted yesterday's news dose, and by the time I saw they were up, everything was sold out except for Best Buy, which was getting hammered online. What makes it even worse is that you have scalpers out there buying up these consoles to sell on eBay for twice the price. You gotta love that, right? Well, the good news here though is that Microsoft is giving fans an advance notice that Xbox Series pre-orders will go live on September 22nd at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This will differ from region to region, so you do need to check the region that you're in, but at least you won't be caught off guard with these Xbox pre-orders, and you can make plans for how and where you will get your Xbox. Let me know though, if you did try to pre-order the PlayStation 5 last night, were you lucky enough to get one? Let me know in the comments below. Now speaking of PlayStation, the PlayStation 5 showcase yesterday was a bit misleading. I like the showcase personally, but it's always frustrating to me that they're not always forthcoming with their events. And this time some of their most important news was posted after the event to more or less make the PlayStation 5 sound better. Yes, Final Fantasy 16, as I suspected, is a timed console exclusive, so it is very likely coming to the Xbox. Then you had Demon's Souls, which had a very confusing reveal where they were saying it was coming to other platforms and it would also be available on PC. Well, Sony backtracked that and it is no longer coming to the PC or other platforms. Then there were the game prices, which will be increasing. Yes, Demon's Souls, as an example, will be $70, but the biggest issue that I have is they lied, or at the very least, intentionally misled consumers about cross-generation titles. Earlier this year, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan claimed that PlayStation believes in generations and that PlayStation fans deserve something new, different, and something that can only be enjoyed on a new console, or in other words, the PlayStation 5. Meanwhile, Xbox announced cross-generation games and were being crucified by much of the game community, claiming that they were going to hold back next generation. Well, now let's fast forward just a bit, because yesterday they revealed Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy, and Horizon Forbidden West will all be cross-generation games. Yes, these are coming to the PlayStation 4. It gets even better though, because Jim Ryan also said that the PlayStation 4 will be incredibly important to them for the next 3 to 4 years. And even though he mentions that they want players to transition to the PlayStation 5, there are still tens of millions of PlayStation 4s out there. Yeah, that very much sounds like more cross-generation games will be coming over the next 3 to 4 years, and not just launch. Now, there is no confirmation of what these games will be, but don't be surprised if big exclusive games in the future are also cross-generation, such as God of War. Again, I'm not claiming that that will be the case, but based off of what Jim Ryan said here, that is very possible. I will say this though, I'm not against cross-generation titles. I think games scale up and down rather well, and I've been saying that for a while, but my issue was with how Sony approached this situation. They pretty much lied about this months ago, while Xbox was taking a ton of heat from the game community, and then they turn around and reveal that they're doing the exact same thing, and they tried to announce this after the event, that way live viewers would not know this. The whole situation comes off as being very shady, and I think Sony needs to be more transparent about this type of stuff. Again though, I'm not against cross-generation games, and in fact I think it's very pro-consumer. I just don't like how they dealt with this announcement, and I think they intentionally misled consumers for a long time. They made it sound like Ghost of Tsushima would be the last big PlayStation 4 game, and that just was not true. They just need to be more transparent about these type of things. For that matter, they also revealed that the Spider-Man remaster that comes with the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition will not have a free upgrade path to the PlayStation 5, even if you own it on the PlayStation 4. That's also very unfortunate, and it's just another announcement that was somehow conveniently revealed after the event. I still like the PlayStation 5 showcase just because the price of the digital PlayStation 5 and God of War Ragnarok has me super excited, because I think that's one of the best single-player games ever made. But please, Sony, be more forthcoming in the future. This is just unacceptable. Moving on, let's talk about Nintendo, because they had a surprisingly very big event today. It may have been promoted as a Nintendo Direct Mini, but they had some very big games here, so let's take a look at some of these games. They announced not one, but 2 Monster Hunter games here. Monster Hunter Rise, which looks insanely good, and then Monster Hunter Stories 2. Monster Hunter Rise, though, is just wow. It's reportedly running off the Resident Evil engine, and visually, it looks really good. Possibly one of the best looking Switch games, actually. What's cool about this game, though, is the vertical movement. You get this grapple bug-like thing and can kind of slingshot yourself in the air to get you to higher locales. That should make exploration a lot of fun, and you can even climb and run across walls, which kind of has that Breath of the Wild feeling. And yes, it does have new monsters and multiplayer available, so while this isn't Monster Hunter World, this is the next big Monster Hunter game. Honestly, I'm low-key more excited about this game than Monster Hunter World, and it is releasing on March 26 of 2021. Now, they did show Monster Hunter Stories 2, but did not show gameplay. The first game was pretty good though, and I think this is a nice fit for the Switch. I'm personally excited for it, but there was some more surprises here. Disgaea 6 is heading to the Switch in the summer of next year. These games are a little bit more niche, but they're also very good games, and they're also some of my favorite JRPGs. They have this wacky story to them, but usually with very charming characters, and if you like strategy RPGs, then Disgaea is a great game. The biggest surprise for me though was that Ori and the Will of the Wisps is coming to the Switch today. Yeah, you can download this game right now. The reason that this is so surprising is because it is an Xbox IP. While Xbox doesn't own Moon Studios, they do own the Ori franchise. So they did have to sign off on this one, and based off what Phil Spencer said earlier this year, I didn't think this would happen. I'm sure Ori and the Blind Forest did great for the Switch, and that probably pushed them to bring over the sequel as well. But Phil Spencer did say that he didn't like fans assuming more Xbox games would be heading to the Switch. My guess is that they may have already came to a deal with Will of the Wisps before he said that, because I'm sure they have been working on a port for a very long time. For that matter, I'm very curious to see how this performs on the Switch because it had some frame rate issues on the Xbox One X. Even then though, this is an amazing game, and I would say it's probably the best Metroidvania-style game of all time, so Nintendo fans, you absolutely need to play this game. I love that Xbox and Nintendo pulled this one off, and I'm very happy to see more gamers enjoy Ori. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you would like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for helping make this content possible. Peace out.